Okay, greetings all. Today we're going to be taking a look at some new science, falsely so called. 1 Timothy 6:20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. Today we're going to take a look at an article that was linked to me and in response to, of course, a creation comment or something on one of the videos about, oh, well, science has created life in the laboratory, and they link me this foolishness of an article, and we're gonna take a real quick look at it. This isn't gonna take too long, but first we want to celebrate. We look at our pagan calendar, Dorothy Clutterbuck Day. We look, and apparently, we all have Martin Luther King Day, and President's Day for Washington and Lincoln there. And the pagans got Dorothy Clutterbuck Day. So today is Dorothy Clutterbuck Day. Dorothy Clutterbuck, 1880 to 1951, also known as Old Dorothy, was a well-to-do woman who lived near Christchurch, England, whom Gerald Gardner claimed had initiated him into witchcraft. So there you go. I got an actual day for that. So good for the pagans there. All right, moving on. The article that we were talking about is scientists use lasers to recreate what may have been life's first spark. Wow, they created life in a laboratory, right? Right? That's what I was told in an argument. How it was, apparently he slam dunk beat me in the debate because we created life in the lab. You're a fool and a moron. Well, no, they didn't create life in a laboratory. Well, let's take a look at what they did. Scientists in a lab used a powerful laser to recreate what might have been the original spark of life on Earth. Well, they're hoping and praying. They're hoping for it. Researchers zapped clay and chemical soup with laser to simulate the energy of a speeding asteroid smashing into the planet. Now, I'm going to point out here that 10 years ago, they actually already did this. They shot a pellet into a clay thing, whatever they're doing, and they created amino acids. So this experiment has already been done. The only new thing about this is that they're using a laser beam instead of actually shooting something into the clay. That's the only difference. They're smashing it into clay that is just like ripe for creating amino acids. I mean, it's not going into dirt or sandstone or whatever when these meteors crash. It's kind of, you need life to happen in order for the amino acids to be formed from the chemicals. You still have to have some organic crap around. So anyways, we'll forget about that and keep on going. The experiment produced all 4 chemical bases needed to make RNA, except the glucose, I'm imagining, and the information for the RNA. But, you got some of the parts there. So, right, that's a start, right? Right? Isn't it a start? We'll keep looking. Simpler relative to DNA for the blueprint of life. From these bases, there are still many mysterious steps that must happen for life to emerge. Yeah, still many mysterious steps. But this is a potential starting point for that process. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And it was proven long ago in Miller-Urey. Some scientists were unimpressed by the results. Right, the smart ones. Which do not actually prove that this is how life started on Earth about 4 billion years ago. Okay. A time when asteroids were bombarding our planet 10 times more frequently. How do they know that? It's 4 billion years ago. So, but the experiment bolsters this particular theory. Not really. This is a quote from somebody. The findings suggest the emergence of terrestrial life is not the result of an accident, but a direct consequence of the conditions on primordial Earth and its surroundings. But it's still an accident. It's still an accident because meteors hit the Earth all the time. All the time. We don't have new forms of life crawling out of the craters, do we? No. So it is an accident. The researchers concluded in the study published Monday that in the journal Proceedings of Natural Academy of Sciences. So that's where they published it. I went to the journal, and I don't think I can read it without actually having to pay for it. But I can tell by the highlights here that it's Miller-Urey. And this, like as I said, this experiment has already been done where they actually shot something at a thing of clay, simulating a meteor impact. There's no difference. They're just using a laser. Scientists have been able to make these RNA bases in other ways. Yeah, they're not hard to make, using chemical mixes and pressure. But this is the first experiment to test the theory that energy from a space crash could trigger the crucial chemical reaction. No, it isn't. Said the lead author, some guy, from the thing in Prague. Okay, the guy from Prague doesn't know about the other experiment, but they've already done it. It's old news. Civis, I don't know how his name goes, said the scientists used laser almost 500 feet. Well, who cares? 7,600 degrees Fahrenheit, blah, blah, blah. Some of the earliest life on Earth seem to coincide with a period called the Late Heavy Bombardment, when the solar system's asteroid belt was bigger and stray pieces of rocks hit our planet more often. Said study co-author David Nesvorny, planetary scientist at Southwest Research Institute in Colorado. One thing I will say about this article is at least they're being honest. They're saying this guy's opinion, which I appreciate. This is actually a very honest article. Most articles do not put the person in there whose opinion it is. They just say this is what happened. We had a late heavy bombardment and the Earth is 4 billion years old and blah, blah, blah. This one actually accredits that idea to this person. I had no problems with that at all. They can believe whatever they want. Outside experts were divided about the importance of the experiment. Steve Benner, a prominent biological chemist at the Foundation for Applied Molecular Evolution in Florida, said it's quite relevant because it produced the starting material that would have been around in early Earth. How does he know? It's, he imagines maybe it could be, but, imaginations can do anything. Look at Star Wars. But John Sutherland of the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, England, said the amount produced of one base was so small that the results don't seem relevant. Other researchers also downplayed the findings. So they do their experiment and they get something, maybe a handful of amino acids out of their experiment, and it takes many thousands of combinations of amino acids in order to actually create what would be a protein, and then your proteins would form together to form some sort of life form, right? Well, you need a whole mess of amino acids, trillions of them, so you can accidentally get the right combinations of something to form a protein. Now, what's responsible for ordering that the amino acids is DNA. So DNA tells the amino acids how to form into a protein, and DNA is made up of proteins. So you have the chicken and egg problem. Never mind that not only do the amino acids have to be in a correct sequence, they also have to be all left-handed amino acids, as they refer to them. There's left and right-handed amino acids. So when you get a dozen amino acids out of your experiment, half of them are going to be useless. And life needs like 20 something amino acids just to even as part of its makeup. So if you only get the same dozen every time you smash an asteroid into the planet or whatever they're thinking, you're never going to have the stuff required for life. You'll always need something more. And so that's why it's not relevant. You're always going to be missing something. An alternate theory of life on Earth says that microbes arrived here from space aboard a comet or asteroid. And this is what I point out, is that what you would think would be smart people will always defend evolution to the death, and then when they reach a point where they cannot defend it, or they come up against someone like me, then they're rolled to the, life could have originated someplace else, which makes the whole thing irrelevant. It just pushes the whole discussion off into some other world. And it's like, if you can't get life to form here in the absolute most perfect place for life in the universe, why would you think that it would develop someplace else? Out of the same materials as what's found on Earth. It doesn't make any sense. And this is your seed of life theory. Civi's work bolsters what would instead be fire theory of life instead of the water theory of life. For this whole chemical reaction to work, extreme energy from the asteroid collision would have had to break down molecules into less complex chemicals and then reform them into more vital combinations. So what they did was they already had, proteins or something already formed here. I mean, it sounds really fishy. It's kind of like, they have a building and then they blow it up and then they get bricks and they go, see, that's how bricks were formed. I mean, it's really stupid, right? I mean, I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. So here we'll take a look at what came out pretty well immediately after the laser research study. New route to origin of life? Probably not. And this is from Harvard. I probably can't see that, so I'll bring it down a little bit. This is from Harvard. So this isn't some creationist site. This is Harvard saying this is stupid. All right? So, unfortunately, this study suffers from several flaws. First, formamide would probably not have been as abundant as the authors suggest, calling into question whether their finding would be relevant for life on Earth. In addition, the yields seen from their reactions are low and probably don't represent a high enough concentration of bases to spur life. As though they're still hoping, though, that it could happen. Finally, other synthetic mechanisms have already been proposed to make DNA bases that require less improbable circumstances. So they don't believe in it either. They think it's kind of silly. But they're still holding out. They're still holding out a chance. They need their concentration of bases to spur life, as if you actually had all the amino acids together, and everything was just perfect, and you had the perfect environment, like life would just jump right out of the test tube. But let me explain this very clearly to everybody out there before you even bother commenting on any of my videos regarding this creation stuff with life from non-life. And I've literally had like 5 people claim that abiogenesis is totally cool, and they're, no problems with it at all. They get no problems with life from non-life, despite there being a scientific law against it. Let me explain this, people. All that stuff about your puddle of goo and primordial earth and all that, and a frog jumping out or your life form jumping out, is imagination. And the proof is the fact you can take a cell, drop it in a test tube in the perfect environment, a solution of whatever you want to put in there, whatever the cell likes, and take a sterile needle and pop that cell and have all the contents of the cell spill out into the test tube. You have everything you need for life in there. You got the DNA, you got the RNA, you got the proteins, you got all the molecules you need because it was a living cell, but it's dead. You can't bring it back to life. If you can't get life from something that used to be living when you got all the components, why would you think you would be able to get life from a couple of amino acids? It's stupid. Absolutely stupid. So, we'll move on, and as I had said before, this experiment had already been done. It had already been done back in the Miller-Urey experiment, which is this little thing right here. This is his little apparatus. I bring this up quite a bit, where they, he's got his gases in there, his chemical concoction, and he sparks the thing, and he gets his amino acids coming out. But again, it's a handful of amino acids. Half of them are right-handed amino acids that don't code for life, and there is nothing that can put these amino acids in the correct order. Nor is there even the full amount of amino acids you would need to make life. This is an experiment from the 1950s. This laser thing is just a 20th century version of the exact same experiment. It's not a big deal. So, all you people out there that you're abiogenesis lovers that say this stuff is plausible, no, it is not plausible. It's ridiculous. here we go to what the amino acids are. Building blocks of all life, peptide bonds in order refined by genes. Here we go. Amino acids linked together via peptide bonds in particular order as defined by genes. This is DNA. Defined by your genes. This is the information that evolutionists cannot explain where it comes from. It's information. It's not physical, it's not material, it's information. Genes are translated by RNA to amino acid chains. The length and order of the amino acid chain that then dictates the three-dimensional structure of the polypeptide or protein. While plants and bacteria can generally synthesize all 22 amino acids, mammals can actually synthesize only 10 of these. Others are dietary essentials. So people make their own amino acids, some of them. Other ones you need to actually ingest in order to keep running. Now, they got 22 amino acids. You zap your clay thing with your laser and you get 11. So you still are lacking the other 11, right? And these are 22 amino acids that are required for life, but there's a lot more amino acids than that. So maybe you're not even getting the right ones. And we'll not forget here that order as defined by genes, which is DNA, which is made up of proteins. And the proteins need correctly coded amino acids to be formed, which the genes code for. So they can make more proteins from the amino acids, so they can make more DNA. That's chicken and egg, people. Chicken and egg. So once again, until they create life in a laboratory or bring dead stuff back to life, all of this stuff is garbage. And with that, I think we're going to be out of here.